looking at a map of the Underground Railroad. Some called it the pathway to freedom. Others called it the original highway to heaven. No one is sure exactly when it started, but in the period between 1750 and 1861, over 1 million slaves used the Underground Railroad to gain their freedom. A key link to the route was maintained by Quaker abolitionists right here in Pennsylvania. 300 years later, Pennsylvania's role is prominently displayed in this permanent exhibit at the Heinz History Center. Now the Center for Minority Health at the University of Pittsburgh has joined forces with Adventure Cycling Association to take history one step further. African Americans can review their past and learn how to stay healthy in the future while retracing the Underground Railroad on bicycle.
Tonight, we'll preview this year's amazing bicycle tour of the Underground Railroad, show you why you should plan a day trip through southwestern Pennsylvania, and give you some tips on how to get involved with cycling. That's all ahead on Biking Through Black History. Here's your host, Darieth Chisolm.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. The idea for the Underground Railroad bicycle route actually started when map makers at Adventure Cycling decided to retrace the Lewis and Clark expedition. The popularity of that project led the association to question whether or not they should do other historic routes.
So they did a survey of their members, and lo and behold, one of the routes that came up as getting the most votes was the Underground Railroad bicycle route. Now, here's an organization out in Missoula, Montana, that's 99.9% white, and their members want an Underground Railroad bicycle route. So there was an issue of credibility, and lo and behold, they discovered the Center for Minority Health at the University of Pittsburgh in the Graduate School of Public Health. I received a phone call, and the rest is history.
Adventure Cycling has three main goals for the Underground Railroad project. One is to enable people to discover the heartland of America, from the deep south to the Great Lakes. The second goal is to honor the history of the Underground Railroad and all the people involved in creating the route. And the third goal is to attract more people of color to the sport of cycling.
The point being that we are involved in our Healthy Black Family project of increasing the physical activity among African Americans and doing it in ways that are culturally relevant. We call it cultural tailoring. So from our perspective, to link black people to the history of the Underground Railroad made a great deal of sense.
Reviewing the history of African American involvement in cycling is just one way to attract more blacks to the sport. In 1898, an Indianapolis native named Marshall W. Major Taylor set the standard for bicycle racing. Major Taylor was the Lance Armstrong of his day.
But I should say that a lot of black people don't even know about Major Taylor, who was an Olympic class racer back at the turn of the century, who was banned from racing because of his race, because he was black, and ended up doing a lot of racing in Europe. And it was not until the 1970s that the organization that had banned him, called the American Wheelmen's Association, apologized for what they had done to Major Taylor. And so right now there is a major effort underway in Massachusetts to build a monument in his honor. I think far too few African Americans are aware of Major Taylor. The point being is that we have had a history of involvement with the bicycle ever since we've been in this country. And we can go all the way back. You talk about long distance touring. We can go all the way back to the beginning of really long distance touring and look at the role of the U.S. Army's 25th Infantry Division called the Buffalo Soldiers. And back in the 1800s, the Buffalo Soldiers, stationed of all places in Missoula, Montana, actually did the first experiment of the use of bicycles as a way of deploying military troops. You know what they called them? They called them the Iron Riders. And one of their longest rides was a 1,000-mile ride from Missoula, Montana to St. Louis, Missouri.
I'm Vince Sims. From the Buffalo Soldiers to Major Taylor, African Americans have played a significant role in promoting the use of bicycles. So, why aren't more of us involved with the nation's largest cycling organization? We'll explore that issue and show you some sights along the Underground Railroad bicycle route when Biking Through Black History continues.